Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe, where today we're going to be seeing whether we can teach an old dog new tricks by checking out the Nami Solo. Nami Solo has been in the game for quite a while now and has been viewed as somewhat of a weak weapon, especially since it's a machete, and for the longest time machetes were by far the worst class in the game. But since the weapon originally came out, quite a bit has changed, and that really has changed its usefulness in game. So let's start by checking out the stats of the weapon. 35 base damage, most of it is slash, equal amounts of impact and puncture making up the rest of it. It's not the highest base damage ever, but it's workable, especially when you take into account the 15% crit chance, 200% critical damage multiplier, and that actually makes a crit build with Blood Rush actually worth modding for. Then combine that with the 25% status chance, and you have the possibility to make a crit build combined with condition overload viable. And you can probably see from there where the power of the weapon is going to start coming from. The 1 attack speed means you're going to be hitting pretty quickly as well, especially with those speed mods, and that is going to allow you to stack status procs quickly, as well as build up that damage multiplier for both the bonus damage as well as the Blood Rush crit chance. Naturally, it's got a downside or two. Firstly, the base damage isn't really that high, which is a bit of a shame, but not the biggest deal in the end. The one that is kind of the biggest problem is the range, which is pretty pathetic, and can lead to issues with landing some of the hits in the combo, and that does lessen the damage output a bit. In terms of stances, I would steer well clear of Sundering Weave. It's a terrible stance with no real redeeming features. This means that my choice of stance for the Nami Solo is the fantastic Cyclone Kraken. This stance pretty much on its own gave machetes a new lease of life. Lots of guaranteed procs, lots of damage multipliers, and a really cool animation set to go with it. You know me and my stances though, I don't really do many of the combos. I go for a really simple one that is easy to pull off and is effective. For Cyclone Kraken, that would be the right click hold combo of Lightning Siren. In this we have 2 guaranteed impact procs, a guaranteed slash proc, plus a load of damage multipliers. This means that you can stack a whole load of procs that are guaranteed from the stance, plus the procs from the weapon itself can apply, and that can give some crazy multipliers for condition overload. With that in mind, our build is going to be focused around crit and condition overload. Got 1 former on here, meaning that we have 2 former on the weapon in total, both of which are V polarity. The build is prime pressure point, blood rush body count for crit chance and combo timer, condition overload for more damage for each status proc we've got on the weapon, berserker for attack speed on crits, organ shatter for crit damage, and then 2 dual stat elementals. Here I went with corrosive for the armor stripping, but any 2 dual stats works for this build. The build is focused around getting a bunch of status procs applied to a target, and then annihilating them with the crit and condition overload combo, especially when you build up that combo counter. So what do I think of the Nami Solo? Do I like it? Do I think it's a good weapon? Well, the answer to that is a resounding hell yes. The Nami Solo is quite simply a top tier weapon now. Yep, you heard me correctly, I just called the Nami Solo, a machete, a top tier weapon. And that's because quite simply it is. If you build up the combo, you can shred through high level enemies in seconds. So how come it's gone from trash tier to top tier? Well, it's the combination of crit, condition overload, and the new stance. Condition overload has given so many weapons a new lease of life. Actually gave status weapons a chance to keep up with crit. Something like the Nami Solo though, with a 25% status chance plus a couple of dual stats, is going to proc status pretty reliably on its own, especially since it's going to hit very quickly with its fast attack speed. But then take into account the guaranteed impact and slash proc from the stance as well, it's going to buff the damage super quickly. Even if you get super duper unlucky and don't proc anything else during the combo, those 2 guaranteed procs are going to give you 2.5 times damage multiplier on its own. A single other proc is going to bring that up to 4.1 times multiplier. 2 extra procs is going to give you 6.55 times damage multiplier. So you can see just how amazing condition overload is. But then combine that with the crits, 3.8 times crit damage multiplier alongside that multiplier from condition overload, and also the damage from the combo counter as well. And you can see why the Nami Solo has shot up in the rankings from trash to top tier. The Nami Solo is proof that with the right tools you can teach an old dog new tricks. All it takes is a new stance that actually has good multipliers in there, and a mod that works with status procs. This means that even the worst weapons can be dragged up by its ankles. I've grown to like the Nami Solo quite a bit since the introduction of the 2 mods. It's completely reversed my opinion on it. I'd recommend giving it another shot. Just might be surprised with how it performs. So I hope you enjoyed my look at the Nami Solo. The new Prime items coming next Tuesday, so start saving up those medallions for key packs from your syndicates, so you can start farming the day he releases. But for now, many thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.